Hello, everyone. Need to go to the bin. Find the torn pieces of paper. Where's the bin? Where's the trash? Where do you put the trash? Where do you... Oh, there.
Here are the ripped statements. I can piece them together again.
Right.
There, all done. Holmes couldn't have done better himself. An old report on arrests that took place a few years earlier. Well, it would seem that I have all the information I need for my investigation. Anyway, this fellow Bluto at the Wasp's Nest is rather shady and doesn't look like he'll want to cooperate. I'd be better off returning to Baker Street. Holmes will certainly know what to do. And besides, I am worn out.
But first, let's hide the text. There you go. It's only for censor reasons. Look at Watson for now. There you go. Okay, right. So now I can get back to Baker Street. I'm sorry, that was really... I'm sorry.
Home, sweet home.
I'm sorry that took way too long.
There we are, Holmes. I've told you in great detail everything that happened last night.
Excellent work, Watson. We shall now be prepared to answer a few questions about the horrible murder in Hanbury Street.
Do you think we are now in a position to find out the identity of the murderer of these two women?
No, I don't think so. It's outside of our scope and not our responsibility. As much as you've done for Leather Apron and the affair with the pills, our mission is to help the police by ensuring that they don't get caught up following false leads and to point them in the right direction. Let us start from what we know with some certitude. As you have just said, it is almost certain that the same person killed the Bucks Row and Hanbury Street victims. The reason to assume as much are numerous, and I shan't elaborate here. What do these two victims have in common?
They had the same profession.
It's true these two women were in the same profession, but...
Indeed, Watson. These two women were both prostitutes. That is of vital importance, Watson.
My memory from your examination of the scene is rather hazy. Didn't you say something about the killer's frame of mind?
I was talking about the victim's possessions that were placed on the ground and the rings missing from Annie Chapman's fingers. This killer is a cunning predator, comes from a rather humble background and shows steely self-control in carrying out the murders.
Something is puzzling me, Holmes. Richardson's testimony contradicts the time of death given by Dr. Phillips, which also matches my own, 4:30 a.m.
And yes, we shall confirm that, Watson, and attempt to determine the precise time of death. In order to do that, we will need to place everyone involved on a timeline. Only after that will we be able to place the knife symbolizing our killer.
Right.
Let's look at our timeline, Watson.
Control Sherlock Holmes. Finally. Right, so remember that.
We left the station at 6 o'clock and it took us 20 minutes to arrive at Hanbury Street. Let's put the time of death as assessed by Dr. Phillips on the timeline.
4:30. The time of death, but it's what is this? Watson.
We left the station at 6 o'clock and it took us 20 minutes to arrive at Hanbury Street. Our arrival at the scene occurred at around 6:20. Given the distance separating the two locations, we can deduce that the corpse wasn't discovered after 6 o'clock and therefore that the murder must have been committed before. The assessment of the time of the murder given by Dr. Phillips and yourself, Watson, 4:30 a.m. Our next witness is Albert Kadosh. Let's place this symbol that represents Kadosh on the timeline. Albert Kadosh goes down into his garden at approximately 5:20, and on re-entering his home, hears voices in number 29's garden.
Yes.
Let's place this symbol. Kadosh goes back down into his garden approximately 4 minutes after having left it, and hears the sound of an impact against the wooden fence. Let's place this symbol. Kadosh leaves the garden, enters his house, then leaves for work, seeing the clock on the Spitalfields church showing 5:32.
Mr. Warm. Edward. Look at everybody hears voices. I thought it would be right about maybe here. I click on anything. Everybody goes over his voices. His voice. Must have been. Or maybe about here.
Now, let's put the Richardsons' arrival and departure times on the timeline.
5:15. 5:15. I'll call it to 5. Let's call it to 5. I need my phone. God, I'm so bad at times. 5:45. Ah, thank you. You're there. Now, where do you leave his mum's place? I was coming to mother about 5 minutes after I had to clip off, so 5 minutes after.
Now, let's put the Richardsons' arrival and departure time. Despite the great respect I have for Dr. Phillips and the value I place on our friendship, my deepest conviction is that both of you are mistaken, and that Richardson is in the right, and that these two testimonies put down in writing have real worth.
But how? Explain yourself, Holmes.
Remember how you assessed the time of death? You touched the fingers and body of the victim, but it was remarkably cold for this time of year. In addition, the corpse had been drained of bodily fluids. Its heat retention was therefore no longer the same as that of an intact corpse.
Egad! You're right, Holmes.
Oh, I've had some time to research, Watson.
Given these facts, my first diagnosis may have been off by half an hour, perhaps even an hour.
Thus, we can confirm Richardson's statement and establish that the murder was committed after 4:50 a.m. and not before 4:30 a.m.
Right. Well, that's at least
Now,
good.
for the most important part, the testimony of Miss Long. She claims to have seen a woman speaking to a man near 29 Hanbury Street sometime around... What time, Watson?
Bitch. 5 minutes got positive. Man and woman. Half an hour just before she entered. What was it, about half an hour before? So that would be maybe about 5. Oh? Oh, it's the foxes. Tis the foxes. Puts me 5 a.m. I'll sit down and ship off. As she heard the clock run. Half an hour before she entered the... About 5:30, the witness. A long time. I wrote down just before bed. Oh. Half an hour before? Oh, half an hour just straight. Flippin'.
Let us assume, therefore, that Miss Long's testimony is, as is most certainly the case, true. She places her meeting with the victim at around 5:30, claiming to have heard a clock chime on the half hour at the moment when she enters the street. Excellent, Watson. All our people are now in place.
Yes, but Holmes, Miss Long claims to have seen the victim at around 5:30. But according to Kadosh, someone, most certainly the victim and her murderer, was already in the garden at 5:30.
Excellent observation, Watson. It must be noted, however, that these two witnesses, Long and Kadosh, saw the time shown on the clocks in the area, which are often inaccurate and went by their empirical and, in this case, erroneous estimate of how much time had passed. Thus, neither of these two times can be considered reliable.
Do you mean to say that these two testimonies might match?
Indeed, let's put Miss Long's meeting with the victim at 2 minutes before 5:30.
Let's add Miss Long's meeting with the victim at 2 minutes before 5:30 a.m. Mr. Kadosh claims to have passed by the Spitalfields Church at 5:32, which, given the distance from 27 Hanbury Street, would mean he was still at home at 5:31. Let's therefore put the end of his testimony at 5:31. Miss Long heard the man say to the victim, "Will you?" to which the victim responded, "Yes," which would suggest that an agreement was reached and that the transaction was imminent. They then proceeded to enter the garden, which puts the voices heard by Kadosh at 5:29. We had thought that Kadosh had left 27 Hanbury Street at 5:31 after having heard an impact against the fence. Thus, 2 minutes passed between the moment when Kadosh entered the house after having been in the garden the first time and the moment when he returns to go out again and leave for work. How long did he estimate this interval to be? 3 to 4 minutes. In light of all this, Watson, we can finally establish the time of Chapman's murder. Now, place the knife at the exact time. Now then, taking into account that the local clock isn't exact and that a young man was off by a minute or two in his estimations of his comings and goings, we can confirm Miss Long's testimony and place the time of the crime at approximately 5:30.
Off by
But in
now.
that case, Holmes, the man that Miss Long saw, is none other than...
That's right, Watson. It was the Whitechapel killer.
To think that Miss Long and Kadosh were only a few feet away from him.
Indeed, Watson. Had Miss Long passed just a little closer to the victim and her assassin, or had the young Kadosh popped his head over the fence out of curiosity, the killer would most certainly already be behind bars.
That's some stroke of luck he had there.
I couldn't agree more, Watson.
But his luck didn't end there, given the mutilations inflicted upon this poor woman. What must be considered above all is the killer's obvious wish to remove one and only one specific organ. His surgery pinpointed the exact spot, avoiding superfluous incisions. This suggests the man possesses at least a minimal anatomical knowledge.
Are you suggesting a doctor or a butcher?
Perhaps, but the possibilities are still too broad to conclude with any certainty. Now for the motive. Despite my almost complete lack of practical experience on the subject, I have a rather precise idea of the usefulness of a uterus and a vagina. Nonetheless, once they are separated from their usual envelope, I am more circumspect as to the uses one can make of them. What do you think, Watson?
I don't want to
Need
think.
a board, Watson.
You do not need a board. You do not need anything of what you want to do. How about that? Special result.
Perhaps it was intended as a study specimen.
I have little faith in that theory. Hardly anything was taken from the Bucks Row victim.
Black magic?
Watson, this line of investigation is far too vague. We don't have a single clue in support of such a motive. We can eliminate this hypothesis.
Money, quite simply.
Even if this motive seems incongruous, we're in no position to deny or affirm it until we know whether a market for human organs exists.
That's fair.
Holmes, what if it was cannibalism?
Even if the idea is unbearable, we can't ignore it as a possibility.
A desire for some sort of morbid trophy?
I'd be inclined to dismiss this motive. If this were the case, why would nothing have been removed from the Bucks Row victim?
That one?
Holmes, what if...
Even if the idea is elementary.
There you go.
What emerges from these possible motives for having removed the uterus from the second victim is that they implied that the killer could have carried out the same thing on the Bucks Row victim, yet didn't. This brings us to a terrible conclusion. Our killer has evolved in the space of only a few days, and if that's the case, had he already struck before the first murder to which we attribute him? And if the killer strikes again, what atrocity awaits his next victim?
We have to stop him, Holmes.
We shall do our best. This recent business of jars filled with formalin and of the American doctor might be a lead. Watson, inquire among medical circles to ascertain if there is a black market for human organs. The chances are slim, but this must be pursued.
Very well. What about you, Holmes?
I will send word to Inspector Aberline regarding our recent conclusions. I should also like to become a gas man and pay a visit to Bluto at the Wasp's Nest.
Understood, Holmes. I think one of my old university colleagues who works at the London hospital will be able to help me. I shall write him a note at once. He should be able to see me during the day. Afterwards, shall we meet here?
Yes, Watson. See you later, and good luck.
Who
I
are
must
we?
get to the London hospital where my old university colleague works.
Why do I have to be Watson? Oh, we now have a timeline, doesn't it?
To the London hospital, quick. My colleague agreed to meet me here
Give me
in one
here.
of the London hospital rooms reserved for students.
Give me a second, Mark.
Ah, John, you're there already. Punctual as always. Tell me, you don't seem to be in good shape. Is it possible that your recent marriage is making you this morose?
Ah, you know me well, Andrew. No, it's a strange and terrible affair that concerns me. Have you read my note?
Yes, I admit that I was surprised. It just so happens that I, too, was asking questions about our morgue.
Organ trafficking.
What do you think? Have you heard of any organ trafficking within...
No, John. No doubt there exists some exchange between colleagues. Not quite legal, of course, but nothing that can qualify as trafficking. Since the Anatomy Act of 1832, which permitted the use of unclaimed corpses for science, the black market trade was definitely halted. There are sufficient subjects available for all practitioners and students. Of this I can confirm.
Oh.
Well, organ trafficking as a lucrative trade is out of the question. Then what is troubling you with the morgue?
You are talking about trafficking organs, but I suspect there is trade in whole bodies.
Oh, the missing bodies?
What do you mean to say? Whole bodies are disappearing?
Well, it's confidential, but I know of your discretion and your friendship with the famous Sherlock Holmes. I can tell you that a few corpses have recently disappeared from the hospital morgue. Cadavers that were intended for dissection. That is to say, not claimed, poor unknown people. If a single corpse had disappeared, it might have been a bad joke. There are many students who pass through here. It's even a meeting spot. For the majority, they are here to work. A few come here in secret to practice. It also happens that instruments or organs go missing. Nothing alarming, but so many corpses. It's very troubling.
It would be. What will you do?
But the hospital doctors aren't doing anything?
No. That is to say, they would prefer not to call the police at this point. An investigation would no doubt result in the suspension of authorizations for the use of unclaimed corpses. Do you think that you could intercede on our behalf with Sherlock Holmes to clear up this situation?
Which corpses are missing?
Which corpses are missing?
I don't know exactly, but I can make an exact list if you would like to wait here for a few minutes. Feel free to look around the room while you wait. It'll bring back memories.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the invitation to give me permission to walk around our hospital.
It's here that students come to carry out their experiments.
Experiments? Like what?
These wheeled trolleys are very handy for laying out surgical instruments.
Good to know, Watson. Good to know. Before my husband whines at me again. You're safe. Oh dear. I mean, there's an anatomical thing of the heart. Oh, nice. Look.
An encyclopedia of anatomy. A page on the human heart is dog-eared. Let's see.
Look at this for a while. Don't want to miss, you know. Don't want to miss anything of importance. Oh, I can't even speak. My. That's why I'm becoming more like posh-ish. Right.
It's here that students come to carry out their experiments.
I want to know what experiments they are doing.
The last lesson must have been about the human heart. And for a class of beginners, I expect, as this diagram is rather rudimentary.
Rudimentary? How long does it take to find something into probably a lot of bodies? If it's a list that long. A big list. He's checking this twice. He's gotta find out who's stealing the bodies. Mark, could I have another tea, please? Would that be okay?
I have no reason to go here.
Right. Hope everyone is doing splendid.
It's here that students come to carry out their experiments.
Right, so do we have to, you know, say the same thing like 4 times already, or? Okay.
I am missing some information.
I'll do here. Oh.
This rag is full of grease. It certainly wasn't used for a dissection. Was someone doing some mechanical work here?
Yes, totally. Watson, someone was totally doing some mechanical work in hospital. I can see that, yeah. I could 100% see that. Hey, don't worry, just fixing my typewriter.
There is a heart in this jar. Based on its colouring, it hasn't been there long. And it looks like the drawing on the board. This jar contains 2 lids with combination locks.
That in a minute. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh.
This surgical instrument resembles a screwdriver. How amusing. It might come in handy. I will return it later.
I think that might be it.
There is a heart in this jar. This jar contains 2 lids with combination locks.
Be a document. Be an item. Wait. What up? Can I close it? I'm missing something. Can't go that way. That's just gross. Nothing else in here.
It's here that students come to carry out their
Shut the fuck up. Great.
Warning! Warning! We have raiders.
Oi lag, thank you for the raid and welcome raiders. Just blame the lag, I always do. Welcome raiders, my name is Kiwi_Reaper_997. I am your average steampunk bonathan. I play puzzle and adventure games. Raid! Shut the fuck up, it does not suck. I'm
It's
also
here that students come to carry.
Shh. But yeah, my name. Just call me Kiwi, honestly. But thank you for the raid. I appreciate that, Tom. How was your streams? Love it when stuff likes to. There you are. This alert sucks. How was your 2 raiding? Did you raiding the Tims? What was that? Tell me.
It's here that
Good,
students
I had to
come
end
to carry
early
out
because
their
I needed to
experiments.
pick up my roommate. Oh yeah, you told me about that. Ah, it's okay. You have other days. Alright, I raided something. Oh, I raided something, alright. Oh, wink wink nudge nudge. I have no idea what I'm doing, Mark. That's not what I wanted.
A message.
There we go.
Why the devil was it hidden here?
Ah.
An old prescription. Poor child, so young yet terminally ill. Strange, someone scrawled something. Part of it is in Latin. These are instructions, it would seem.
Oh, that's just
There is a
combination.
heart in this jar. This jar contains 2 lids with
Combination. Okay. Now we can use the prescription. That's the which is number. Hey. The oh, fuck.
There is a heart in this jar. This jar contains...
Let's stop for a minute. That fatty bit there, which is number 8. Oh, no, that's not it. Oh, which is that tube.
Look, there was a bit of paper stuck between the two lids.
6. Yes. Astro 6. Big fatty bit was.
Incredible! Someone has hidden a magnet in this heart. But to what end?
Oh, we have a magnet. What magnet? Oh my god.
Incredible! There is a magnet with a hook behind this pane of glass. I am in need of something.
Oh great, fabulous. I like these. Fuck. Why?
There, all done. Holmes couldn't have done better himself. A hole. I could make out something inside, but... I found it. A coded message. I do believe I will need Holmes.
That hurts my head.
Here is the list, John. The missing corpses are those of a woman, 40 years old, beginning of August, another 55 years old 2 weeks ago, and recently a young woman. These corpses had nothing in common except that they didn't have any apparent lesions.
All of this is very troubling. Well, I think that I have all of the information possible, and I promise that I will do what I can to clear up this business. I must leave you, my friend, and...
In the name of our friendship,
Please, don't go so stare.
To be sure. Thanks again, Andrew.
it is I who must thank you, John. Don't forget to keep me up to date and say hello to your charming wife for me.
Count on me, Andrew.
The other wife.
I must go to the wasp's nest to find this rogue that Watson dubbed Bluto. He may be able to provide information on Dr. Tumblety. This lead, although tenuous, is well worth following. I must return to Whitechapel, but it would be better if I did so incognito.
And disguise time. Where's the wardrobe?
This should do the trick.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Go to the map of Whitechapel. What's the map of Whitechapel? Let's go back to Whitechapel.
Let's go. Let's go to the wasp's nest.
Hello, love.
Pardon me, but can you give me some information?
So, my lord, you looking for love? True love?
Just go in here.
Old Tong.
What'll it be?
I have nothing to ask.
Oi, what'll it be to drink, Gav?
There's something here.
Where?
There's something here. I need something. There's something here. I need something. There's something here. I see a jewel. It's fallen between the floorboards.
Oh, my lord. Oh, my lord. My god. Oh, goodness gracious me. Lever spoon to the left. Home down, jewel out.
A Hebrew inscription. Going by the length of the chain, it must belong to a child.
That was
Hello
unpleasant.
there. You looking for a gas man?
You really a gasser? You sure it isn't a bobby?
Well, if you don't need me, I'll be on my way then. I've already been paid up.
Stay. Who paid you?
A doctor, Marston, I think he was. He told me you'd talk to me about a foreigner, name of Tumblety, if I did you a favour.
Right, mate. Might happen.
Did I do?
What is it you need me to do then?
Listen to me. At the end of Whitechapel, there's an abandoned dump of a house. Opposite Finley's boarding house. Upstairs in the mess where the gas pipes are, you'll find a sack with something heavy inside. If you look in, you'll regret it here. You find it, you bring it here, and you don't tell a soul, right?
Alright.
Got it. And then you'll tell me about this Tumblety so that I can report back to the doc?
Yeah, doctors know people. And since you is here, it's because he'll move mountains for his American. Me, I don't know much. But you can tell him that he'll have to talk to Squibby. He seems to know lots about plenty. When you come back with a sack, I'll tell you what he needs to tell Squibby so that he snitches on the yank to him. Believe me, mate, it's as explosive as 10 miles worth of gas in your damn pipes.
Goodbye.
Right then, I'm off.
Go. Give me some air.
Alright.
I could arrange for the police to come down here and arrest this thug, but he seems pretty tough and would probably be a lot less cooperative than if I play along. It's best I handle this myself, including meeting the mysterious Squibby.
Yes. Alright, let's have nothing in my hand right now.